Hello everyone. Today we will have a new lesson about cyber threats. What are cyber threats? In the 1950s, the word cyber used to refer to cybernetics, the science of understanding the control and movement of machines and animals. This was followed by cyber standing for computerized. The 1990s brought around a new cyber-related term, the word cyberspace, emerged to define an invented physical space that some people wanted to believe existed behind the electronic activities of computing devices. A cyber or cybersecurity threat is a malicious act that seeks to damage data, steal data, or disrupt digital life in general. Cyber threats include computer viruses, data breaches, denial of service or DOS attacks, and other attack vectors. Cyber threats also refer to the possibility of a successful cyber attack that aims to gain unauthorized access, damage, disrupt, or steal an information technology asset. Computer network, intellectual property, or any other form of sensitive data. Cyber threats can come from within an organization by trusted users or from remote locations by unknown parties. Today, the term is almost exclusively used to describe information security matters because it's hard to visualize how digital signals traveling across a wire can represent an attack. We've taken to visualizing the digital phenomenon as a physical one. A cyber attack is an attack that is mounted against us, meaning our digital devices by means of cyberspace. Cyberspace, a virtual space that doesn't exist, has become the metaphor to help us understand digital weaponry that intends to harm us. What is real, however, is the intent of the attacker as well as the potential impact. While many cyber attacks are merely nuisances, some are quite serious, even potentially threatening human lives. Where do cyber threats come from? Cyber threats come from numerous threat actors, including hostile nation-states. National cyber warfare programs provide emerging cyber threats, ranging from propaganda, website defacement, espionage, disruption of key infrastructure to loss of life. Government-sponsored programs are increasingly sophisticated and pose advanced threats when compared to other threat actors. Their developing capabilities could cause widespread, long-term damages to the national security of many countries, including the United States. Hostile nation-states pose the highest risk due to their ability to effectively employ technology and tools against the most difficult targets like classified networks and critical infrastructure like electricity grids and gas control valves. Another is terrorist groups. Terrorist groups are increasingly using cyber attacks to damage national interests. They are less developed in cyber attacks and have a lower propensity to pursue cyber means than nation-states. It is likely that terrorist groups will present substantial cyber threats as more technically competent generations join the ranks. Another is corporate spies and organized crime organizations. Corporate spies and organized crime organizations pose a risk due to their ability to conduct industrial espionage to steal trade secrets or large-scale monetary theft. Generally, these parties are interested in profit-based activities, either making a profit or disrupting a business ability to make a profit by attacking key infrastructure of competitors and stealing trade secrets or gaining access and blackmailing material. Another is from hacktivists. Hacktivist activities range across political ideas and issues. Most hacktivist groups are concerned with spreading propaganda rather than damaging infrastructure or disrupting services. Their goal is to support their political agenda rather than cause maximum damage to an organization. The disgruntled insiders. Disgruntled insiders are a common source of cybercrime. Insiders often don't need a high degree of computer knowledge to expose sensitive data because they may be authorized to access the data. Insider threats also include third-party vendors and employees who may accidentally introduce malware into systems or may log into a secure S3 bucket, download its contents, and share it online, resulting in a data breach. Hackers. Malicious intruders could take advantage of a zero-day exploit to gain unauthorized access to data. Hackers may break into information systems for a challenge or bragging rights. In the past, this required a high level of skill. Today, automated attack scripts and protocols can be downloaded from the internet, making sophisticated attacks simple. Natural disasters. Natural disasters represent a cyber threat because they can disrupt your key infrastructure just like a cyber attack would. Another is accidental actions of authorized users. An authorized user may forget to correctly configure S3 security, causing a potential data leak. Some of the biggest data breaches have been caused by poor configuration rather than hackers or disgruntled insiders. Let's proceed to the types of cybersecurity threats. Cybersecurity threats come in three broad categories of intent. Attackers are after financial gain or disruption espionage, including corporate espionage, the theft of patents, or state espionage. Virtually every cyber threat falls into one of these three modes. In terms of attack techniques, malicious actors have an abundance of options. First, the malware. Malware is software that does malicious tasks on a device or network, such as corrupting data or taking control of the system. Another is spyware. Spyware is a form of malware that hides on a device, providing real-time information sharing to its hosts, enabling them to steal data like bank details and passwords. Phishing. An email-borne attack that involves tricking the email recipient into disclosing confidential information or downloading malware by clicking on a hyperlink in the message. Phishing is when a cybercriminal attempts to lure individuals into providing sensitive data such as personally identifiable information or PII, banking and credit card details, and passwords. Spear phishing, a more sophisticated form of phishing where the attacker learns about the victim and impersonates someone he or she knows and trusts. Man-in-the-middle or MITM attack, where an attacker establishes a position between the sender and recipient of electronic messages and intercepts them, perhaps changing them in transit. The sender and recipient believe they are communicating directly with one another. A MITM attack might be used in the military to confuse an enemy. A MITM attack is when an attack relays and passively alters the communication between two parties who believe they are communicating with each other. Next, Trojans. Named after the Trojan horse of ancient Greek history, the Trojan is a type of malware that enters a target system looking like one thing or a standard piece of software, but then lets out the malicious code once inside the whole system. A Trojan creates a backdoor in your system, allowing the attacker to gain control of your computer or access confidential information. Another type of cybersecurity threat is the ransomware, an attack that involves encrypting data on the target system and demanding a ransom in exchange for letting the user have access to the data again. These attacks range from low-level nuisance to serious incidents like the locking down of the entire city of Atlanta's municipal government data in 2018. Ransomware is a type of malware that denies access to a computer system or data until a ransom is paid. Next is the denial of service attack or distributed denial of service attack or DDoS, where an attacker takes over many, perhaps thousands, of devices and uses them to invoke the functions of a target system like website, causing it to crash from an overload of demand. Distributed denial of service attacks aim to disrupt a computer network by flooding the network with superfluous requests to overload the system and prevent legitimate requests being fulfilled. Another type is the attacks on IoT devices. IoT devices like industrial sensors are vulnerable to multiple types of cyber threats. These include hackers taking over the device to make it part of a DDoS attack and unauthorized access to data being collected by the device. Given their numbers, geographic distribution, and frequently out-of-date operation systems, IoT devices are a prime target for malicious actors. Data breaches. A data breach is a theft of data by a malicious actor. Motives for data breaches include crime, like identity theft, a desire to embarrass an institution like Edward Snowden or the DNC hack, and espionage. Malware on mobile apps. Mobile devices are vulnerable to malware attacks just like other computing hardware. Attackers may embed malware in app downloads, mobile websites or phishing emails, and text messages. Once compromised, a mobile device can give the malicious actor access to personal information, location data, financial accounts, and more. Another type is the zero-day exploits. A zero-day exploit is a flaw in software, hardware, or firmware that is unknown to the party or parties responsible for patching the flaw. Next, the advanced persistent threats. An advanced persistent threat is when an unauthorized user gains access to a system or network and remains there without being detected for an extended period of time. Wiper attacks. A wiper attack is a form of malware whose intention is to wipe the hard drive of the computer it infects. Intellectual property theft. Intellectual property theft is stealing or using someone else's intellectual property without permission. Theft of money. Cyber attacks may gain access to credit card numbers or bank accounts to steal money. Next, data manipulation. Data manipulation is a form of cyber attack that doesn't steal data but aims to change the data to make it harder for an organization to operate. Data destruction. Data destruction is when a cyber attacker attempts to delete data. Drive-by downloads. A drive-by download attack is a download that happens without a person's knowledge of installing a computer virus, spyware, or malware. Malvertising. Malvertising is the use of online advertising to spread malware. Rogue software. Rogue software is malware that is disguised as real software. Unpatched software. Unpatched software is software that has a known security weakness that has been fixed in a later release but not yet updated. Next is the data center disrupted by natural disaster. The data center, your software is housed on, could be disrupted by a natural disaster like flooding. But why is it necessary to protect against cyber threats? Cybersecurity risks pervade every organization and are not always under direct control of your IT security team. Increasing global connectivity, usage of cloud services, and outsourcing means a much larger attack vector than in the past. Third-party risk and fourth-party risk is on the rise, making third-party risk management, vendor risk management, and cybersecurity risk management all the more important for reducing the risk of third-party data breaches. Pair this with business leaders making technology-related risk decisions every day, in every department, without even knowing it. Imagine your CMO trials, a new email marketing tool that has poor security practices. This could be a security risk that could expose your customers' personally identifiable information or PII, causing identity theft. Whether you work in the public or private sector, information security cannot be left to your Chief Information Security Officer or CISO. It must be an organizational-wide initiative. Let's proceed to the sources of cybersecurity threats. Cyber threats come from a variety of places, people, and contexts. Malicious actors include the following: individuals that create attack vectors using their own software tools, criminal organizations that are run like corporations with large numbers of employees, developing attack vectors and executing attacks, nation-states, terrorists, industrial spies, organized crime groups, unhappy insiders, hackers, and business competitors. Nation-states are the sources of many of the most serious attacks. There are several different versions of nation-state cyber threats. Some are basic espionage, trying to learn another country's national secrets. Others are aimed at disruption. There are the so-called cyber weapons that might be used to shut off electricity in enemy territory during a war. In some countries, the boundaries between criminal organization and national intelligence are blurred, with the criminals doing the actual work of cyber espionage. Many cyber threats are bought and sold on the dark web, a disorganized but widespread criminal segment of the Internet. In this online bazaar, aspiring hackers can buy ransomware, malware, credentials for breached systems, and more. The dark web serves as a multiplier for threats, with one hacker being able to sell his or her creation over and over. Let's talk about best practices for cyber defense and protection. It's easy to get frustrated over the severity of the threat environment. However, it is possible to protect your business from cyber threats. Consumers can also defend themselves. Cyber defense for businesses. Enterprise best practices for defense from cyber defense include basic but extremely important countermeasures like patching systems. When a tech vendor discovers or is informed of a security flaw in their product, they typically write code that fixes or patches the problem. For example, if Microsoft finds that a hacker can gain root access to Windows Server through a code exploit, the company will issue a patch and distribute it to all owners of Windows Server licenses. They, among many others, do this at least once a month. Many attacks would fail if IT departments applied all security patches on a timely basis. A host of new technologies and services are coming onto the market that make it easier to mount a robust defense against cyber threats. These include outsourced security services, systems that enable collaboration between security team members, continued attack simulation tools, point solutions for anti-phishing and secure browsing, and for the cyber defense for individuals, the best practices are simple. The good news is that in most cases, some pretty big security organizations stand between the consumer and the hacker. For example, the SecOps team at Verizon or AT&T. There are still preventative measures you should take to help ensure your information safety. For example, password hygiene. Big security organizations cannot protect consumers against phishing or hackers who can guess passwords like 1234. Common sense and password hygiene can go a long way to protect consumers from cyber threats. Another practices is to the antivirus software. Subscribe to antivirus software and keep your system up to date with automated scheduled scans. Caution against phishing attacks. Be careful about opening file attachments. Phishing and spear phishing emails ones that look real but are not. If you pay attention, for instance, if you get an email that says past due invoice with a PDF attachment, don't open it unless you're 100% sure you know who sent it. How to protect against and identify cyber threats. A good place to start to understand how to protect your organization from cyber threats is with the National Institute of Standards and Technologies or NIST Cybersecurity Framework or NIST Cybersecurity Framework and a cyber threat intelligence exercise. Cyber threat intelligence is what cyber threat information becomes once it is collected, evaluated, and analyzed. Cyber threat intelligence provides a better understanding of cyber threats and allows you to identify similarities and differences between different types of cyber threats in an accurate and timely manner. Cyber threat intelligence is developed in a cyclical process referred to as the intelligence cycle. In the intelligence cycle, the data collection is planned, implemented, and evaluated to produce a report that is then disseminated and reevaluated in the context of any new information. The process is a cycle because during the gathering or evaluation process, you may identify gaps, unanswered questions, or be prompted to collect new requirements and restart the intelligence cycle. Analysis hinges on the triad of actors, intent and capability with consideration of their tactics, techniques, and procedures or TTPs, motivations, and access to intended targets. By studying the triad of actors, it becomes possible to make informed strategic, operation, and tactical assessments. For the strategic assessments, informs decision makers on broad and long-term issues, as well as providing timely warnings of threats. Strategic cyber threat intelligence forms a view of the intent and capabilities of malicious cyber attackers and what cyber threats they could pose. For the operational assessments, target potential incidents related to events, investigations, or activities, and provide guidance about how to respond to them, like what to do when a computer is infected with malware. And for the tactical assessments, real-time assessment of events, investigations, and activities that provide day-to-day support. Properly applied cyber threat intelligence insight provides insights into cyber threats and promotes a faster, more targeted response. It can assist decision makers in determining acceptable cyber controls and budget constraints in equipment and staffing, and support incident response and post-incident response activities. That's all for the discussion about the cyber threats. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.